Dan in Tipton, Indiana, listening on WGNR. Welcome to Open Line, Dan. How can I help you today?
Hi, good morning, Michael. We're doing a summer series on the canonical structure of the Psalter using your team's The Moody Handbook of Messianic Prophecy, which we just love. And speaking of 2 Samuel, chapter 23, verse 1 and 2, David's favorite thing was to write about Messiah, we are told in the book. And yet there was a little change to a word that rendered the word concerning, it rendered it on high. And that's just a fascinating thing. And I don't know if you want to talk about that, but what I'm curious about is there a way for me to find the original Septuagint version or whatnot that shows it as concerning, as opposed, because everything that I read shows it as on high.
Everything you read in the Septuagint?
No, every translation of Scripture that I seem to get, whether it's on the internet or my Bible's at home.
Okay, let me explain for those of you playing at home. Let's see if I can explain this. In 2 Samuel 23, it does indeed read in the Hebrew Bible as on high, and I'll read you the verse. It says, "The oracle of David, son of Jesse, the oracle of the man raised up on high," there's what it says, "the one anointed by the God of Jacob," and my version says the favorite singer of Israel, but it should be the delight of the songs of Israel. That's a literal translation. And now the problem is that the word in Hebrew that's translated on high is the word al, A-L in English, we would say. But in Hebrew, there's a vowel that tells us it means on high. Now, in Hebrew, the vowels weren't added into the Hebrew Bible until somewhere by the 10th century A.D. Most people don't realize that the vowels, the little lines and dots and stuff that are vowels in Hebrew, they weren't in the original Hebrew text of the Bible. They were put in by rabbinic experts at texting, at the text of Scripture. They were called the Masoretes. They put them in between the 8th and 10th century A.D. That's how old they were. And the Septuagint actually reads it not on high, but rather they translated the word epi. They read it with a different vowel, not a different letter. They understood a different vowel to be under it, and they translated it with the Greek word epi, which means concerning. So the earliest version we have of that passage sees it as concerning. And if we read it this way, it says, "The oracle of David, the son of Jesse, the declaration or oracle of the man raised up concerning the anointed one," or the Messiah of the God of Jacob, "the delightful one of the songs of Israel." David says that he is writing about his favorite subject, the delightful one of the songs of Israel. Who? Concerning the Messiah, the anointed one of the God of Jacob. Now, that may seem a little complicated, but that's in the Moody Handbook of Messianic Prophecy. And if you read it, Dan, you can see the explanation for it. And the best way to see it is just read a Greek Septuagint, Greek translation from the 2nd century BC, and you'll see that the word there is epi, concerning.
Perfect.